There's three types of basements, and they really depend on the lot your home is built on. There's a fully buried basement, there is a lookout basement, or there's a walkout basement, which we're in today. Especially as it relates to single-story homes, your basement is in essence the same size as the main floor of your home. And so it's something to think about how you're going to be using your basement. A lot of us just use them for storage, and buried basements are great for that. Another thing that a buried basement means, your rear yard is just simply a walkout, makes that very nice. When we think about a lookout basement, it starts to give you a little bit more natural light into the basement. You've got fuller windows, which is bringing more light in, which is really nice. This is a really great example of what a drop foundation looks like in a basement. You can see underneath the white insulation here is foundation. You can see it drops down to here, and here's your lookout window. You can still see that there's buried basement below that, and so this is what a lookout will look like. The basement here is a full walkout basement. And the great thing about that is you've got not only your full-size windows, but you can have a door as access. And if you go to finish it down the road, it very much feels like any other floor of your home. In fact, here's a great example of a window in a lookout basement. And you can see the window comes almost, only about a foot up from the ground. And then we've got a wonderful double window that brings a lot of natural light into the basement, which creates a wonderful light-filled area and can become very usable. And you don't have to finish your basement right away. It may be something you want to do later, or you may not even ever want to finish your basement. But these are just options and things to think about as you're looking at your home. So there's a few things that I think are good to also think about for your basement. There's 8-foot pours and there's 9-foot pours. This creates a little bit different ceiling height. And some people feel fairly strongly about the difference between it, maybe an 8-foot to a 9-foot. However, it also depends on how you finish it. If you're thinking about finishing your basement, you may think about drywall. However, there's another great option out there, which is simply painting the ceiling. And I always say that we measure height from our eyes. And if you're gonna just paint the open flooring, which I actually think creates a really neat architectural look, you actually look up through the floor joists and it picks the elevation of the ceiling up. And it's also kind of fun to see some of the utilities sprayed, the heat ducts, the plumbing ducts, and gives kind of a loft type feel to it, industrial type feel, which is really cool. We insulate all of our basements, whether they're a full buried basement or there's a walkout, and so you have different types of insulation. This is a rolled blanket insulation that you'll see on a full buried, or you'll see on a lookout. You'll see this below. This is a great example of the type of wall you'll see in either a lookout or a walkout basement, where this is a traditionally framed wall. We've got our cellulose insulation. We actually put a blanket over this to make sure that none of the insulation comes out because we aren't drywalling this wall. Another thing people talk about in their basement is, should I rough in plumbing? I always say, do you know what you're going to be doing? And I typically recommend not roughing in plumbing because you don't know if you're going to want a shower there or a tub there. You don't know where the bathroom is going to be until you really put together a plan for finishing a basement. And when you finish your basement, you're going to have the plumber there and they can do the work at that time. So I actually think it's a better use of money, instead of locking yourself in during the rough phase, is that down the line you make the decision where your bathroom's going to be and then do your plumbing at that point. So these are all great things to think about as you build your new home and understanding what your new basement is going to look like.